Good afternoon, everyone. This is RAND. Welcome to the Global Guided Meditation Call for Friday, April 11, 2025, after 3:15 p.m. Eastern. We'll be having a reverse aging health call and all the rest tonight after 9:15 p.m. Eastern. All of us serve a great purpose. Every one of us. Doesn't matter in the physical material world, what you've established, or what you've accomplished, or what strides you've made or not made. All of us have a great purpose here on this planet. You see, the reason is because, so we have these bodies. We all know that. But the God within the body, that's what we're talking about when we say we're all connected. We're not talking DNA. We aren't talking blood types or anything like that. This is way beyond the blood and bone existence. Remember, these bodies are containers that hold the sacredness of the gods that we are. Does that make sense? Now, it's amazing, though, isn't it, that many of us don't know that, and so we don't treat our bodies too well at all. We take them for granted mostly. And the body is sacred because it holds the God within it. Okay? And the reason that a lot of us don't take care of the body is because we don't know. We don't know. We're totally in the dark about it. And we're very distracted on a daily basis. We get distracted very easily while we're in these bodies. And each of us are different because it just depends on what our perspective is and how we look at things and what our emotionality is. And there's always a slight difference, if you want to use the word difference, in every one of us while we're in these bodies. And when we look at each other, I would say the majority of the time we do not look past the body. We look at the body. We don't look past the body to where the God is. And all that is it really is. It's just many, many, many existences of conditioning. That's all. You could take a child, take two children. One, you're constantly telling them that they will not amount to anything, they will not do anything, that they're this, they're that. The other one, the opposite. You're building them up, you're supporting them, you're motivating them, helping them in any way you can. We know that what will happen in most cases is that the child who got the opposite kind of attention, which is the negative, lower vibrational frequency, will not do anything. Let's put it that way, as far as commitment, or they'll be bitter, emotionally distraught most through their lives. The other child will commit and do things because they believe and trust in themselves that they can. When you look at something, that brain or their mind starts to go to work, right? And you look at something and at first you say, I'd like to do that. And it'd be pure and clean when you send that thought out. You say, I'd like to do that. And you have enthusiasm, and you feel the center of your chest and heart mind. And then the old ego mind comes in, and doubt, right? You start going, I don't know though. Yeah. What if this happens? What if that happens? And so the ego mind talks you out of it because the ego mind is insecure, and then you end up protecting the ego mind. So we're kind of like, it's like at a crossroads, because the civilization, whatever you want to name it, humanity or the Homo sapien or Homo sapiens, whatever you deem the title of this civilization is, we kind of have, we have things, we've been programmed backwards. You know what I mean? Imagine you, all of us, when instead of walking forward and we're looking around, we're walking backwards. Picture that. When we walk, we want to go somewhere, you're going backwards. You walk through a doorway, you're going in backwards. And that's the way how we have been conditioned in this life, in many lifetimes, is how we view it. And the forward movement is that, wait a minute here, I'm the God in this body, and I direct. And you do. You direct things, not the ego mind. And the only way you can do that is you say to yourself, well, then I've got to choose to leave the mind alone. How do I do that? By doing these meditations. I meditate on a daily basis. Yes, I do these guided. I don't sit in a corner in darkness and silence. I did that for years. But what I do is that during the course of the day, I'm meditating. Focus on the now. I'm in deep gratitude. And I decide to be happy. And that's a challenge for me because of the fact that all the things that are occurring outside of me. Now, I easily could step into that, become distraught, stretched, and which I have before. But I practice as much as I can to not step into it. Because then you begin to realize that there's no reason for me to step into it, because I step into it, then I begin to create more of it. See what I mean? And then you stop yourself, you say, no, I'm stepping away from the mind. I'm going to leave the mind alone, and I'm going to practice the now. Everything I do today is the now, no matter what it is. I focus on what I'm doing. Now, most of us won't do that because we're so consumed with yesterday and tomorrow. We really are. We're consumed with it. It's a habit that we all get into. None of us are exempt. We get into this habit, and we go off into yesterday and tomorrow. Now, we're not usually focusing on things. How do we know that? A dead giveaway is that, when you're chopping things, cutting things, right? Every now and then you cut yourself. Why is that? You are not in the now. That's a prime example. If you were in the now, you would be slow. You'd be a lot slower. You wouldn't be in a hurry to get things done. And you would be going slow. And you would be focused on your fingers and what you're doing with that knife or cutting implement. And you would not cut yourself. I guarantee you would have not cut yourself. It's just a giveaway. It shows us that we're hurrying and we aren't focused on what we're doing. And there's other things that happen, that we aren't really watching where we're going because we're such in a hurry and we're so preoccupied with all this stuff that, we bump into something, bang our knee into something or stub our toe. It's because we're not in the now. That's why those things happen. And they're kind of neat because they let us know, some not so subtly, that, hey, you're not in the now and you're hurrying. And this is, it's kind of like you, the God that you are, is sending a wake-up call. God, that hurt. When you stub your toe in the middle of the night, that hurts. And and you have that rush. Then you go back to sleep. Why is it that right now in this country, the American people are the most sleep-deprived people on the planet by far? Why is that? Well, we step into the stuff. Worry, stress, fear. And there's a lot of it through the ego mind right now. There's a lot of it. Unknowns, worry, stress, fear about this, about that. And we're expending our energy into it. Do we know it? No, because you get into it and you just embrace it, and it just overwhelms you. And you ever notice that you move yourself away from it, right? And it's gone. It seems to go. And the next thing you know, it's back in. You're thinking about it again. You're focused on it again. And you might say, I thought that went away, but it's still there. And no matter what it is, say, you face it. You ever been in a situation where you wanted to say something to somebody, right? But you didn't. And then you say to yourself, I should have said something, but you didn't. Why? Well, there's a lot of things involved with that. You don't care to hurt anybody's feelings and those types of things. Or you had decided you were going to do something, and then you didn't. So how do we move out of that? Because, so many of us are in it. Most people go to bed, in this country alone, go to bed at night and they're staring at the ceiling or the walls, or something in the body. They go, what is that? And they're thinking about tomorrow or the next day or a month from now. You see, it's easy for us to do it. And are we really, truly aware of it? No, we're not. Because we do it so often. It's not a bad thing. It's not a negative thing. It is there to wake us up. So that we say to ourselves that we know, we become aware, self-aware. Say, I'm not going to do that anymore because I know that I'm putting energy into that. And I'm putting energy and feeding energy into lower vibrational frequencies. And see, then when you begin to address that or look at it, you get curious, right? You usually do. We get curious, and we look at it and say, what am I doing that for? I'm going to focus over here on these higher frequencies. I'm going to focus on things that I'm attracted to, things that I desire. Where attention go, energies flow. Makes a lot of sense, doesn't it? Even in the worst of times, as far as you're concerned, even when things are just absolutely horrendous for you. And you know what? We've all been there because it's just our perspective, right? Even in times like that, you can decide to say to yourself, I'm not going to give this any more energy. And you're not upset. You're not upset with yourself. You're not upset with that situation. You just very lovingly move out of it. How do you do that? And it may be uncomfortable, you see, because it's not something that you're used to doing. So you move out of it, and you focus your energies on what? Higher vibrational frequencies. Confidence, trust, faith in yourself. The universe is always with you. Never leaves you. Always wants what you want for yourself. And you move out of it. Now, are you going to, is there a tendency to move back into it? Sure there is. Because we're used to it. We do it so much. So then we say, but we become aware enough to say, nope, I'm not going to do this anymore. But every time you feel like you're going to do it, or you're doing it, you flip the switch over and you say, I'm going to focus on this. Why not? Why not focus on that? Because guess what? You focus on it. You're not attached to it, right? You don't have any expectations. But you have the confidence, trust, and faith in yourself and the universe that it's going to manifest. You don't know when. And so then you surrender it, you let it go. Because then we don't get attached to it. That's what happens. We don't let it go, we get attached to it. It's like watching the clock. And when a specific time hits, boom. But we stop watching the clock and we just let it go. Because we are literally creating every speck of everything in our lives, in our lives, around our lives. We are creating it all. Every spark, every kernel, every grain, all the time, 24/7. Now, some of us are lazy, and so we just fall with it. We just go with it. Others of us get to, I guess you could call it it's an awakening, an epiphany, so to speak, where you say to yourself, I'm not going to do this anymore. I don't care to do it. It doesn't serve me the greater good. Why would I do something that doesn't serve me the greater good? Are you going to do something that doesn't serve you the greater good? I don't believe so. And not in most cases. Okay? Some of us are a little twisted. We may do things, and we have, that don't serve us the greater good. And this isn't a make-believe. That this is an acknowledgement of your power, is what this is. You're acknowledging how powerful of a being you are in that body. And you're the one who can direct everything. And we all know this isn't our first rodeo. The God's in these bodies. We know that this isn't our first life. We have had thousands of lifetimes, if not more. So you know that. It's not, you don't know. Right now, you're not able to reflect on all of those lifetimes. You're just in this one, in the now. Doesn't it make sense where we just say, is this serving me the greater good? Whatever it is. It might be a thought. It might be something that's constantly bugging you, tapping on you, picking at you. Then you just turn around, give it a big hug, and you say, okay, what do you need? Really, truly. You'd be amazed on what happens. And you do it from heart-mindedness, and you just say, whatever it is, you don't ignore it, because it's going to just keep coming up over and over again. And many of us experience that, if not all of us. So you just turn around and say, what do you need? And you'd be surprised what happens, really. This is why we get into a really good habit of loving our fears. That's true. And a lot of people go, what, are you crazy? Loving your fears? That sounds really messed up. But in order for the fear to vanish, because it's true ego mind, fear is created through ego mind. In order for it to vanish, you face it. You embrace it. Curious about it. You say, why am I fearful of this? Why does this give me the pit of my stomach, this feeling, that feeling? Why am I uneasy? Why do I feel stressed? Because of this fear. And you do find out when you dive into the fear, it's all ego mind. The fear is an illusion. It is. It's an illusion. They're illusions. But since we are powerful beings, what happens? We focus on it, don't we? Yeah? Do we do it on purpose? No. We focus on it because we get those feelings. And we put more attention on it. And we put more attention on it, what happens? It grows. The more we think about it, the more we direct our attention to it, it grows. Now, we don't care to have that. And we've all done it more than once. So we look at it and say, nope. Nope, I'm not going there with that. And you embrace it. You say, okay, fine. I'm looking at you, fear, and I'm looking at why I am feeling the way I am feeling about you. This fear. And then you'll start to realize it is an illusion because it is through the ego mind, which is also an illusion. This is how the ego mind can end up being no more. This is because it's an illusion. Now you, the God in that body, you're forever. You're the only thing that never changes because you're real. But everything else is an illusion because everything that changes is not real. And that is something that many of us do have a challenge with embracing. That very thing. You look around you and you go, then this is all an illusion. Yeah, but it can be fun illusion. Because all it is, it's energy that has taken on certain forms. That's it. No, we are energy, the gods that we are. Pure cosmic, love light, deep eternal loving energy. Ball of light. We go in and we take on different forms. Why? Because we like experiencing things. We really do. We like creating and we like experiencing. This is why we do it. But then when you realize that you say to yourself, okay, I know this is all an illusion, so therefore I can script it. I can design it. I can put it out the way I want it to be so that I can experience it. That's it. It isn't complicated. The complicating things come from the fact that we have this tug-of-war with our ego mind and heart mind. We bounce back and forth. And where are we usually at? You knock on your heart mind door opens, you go, is so-and-so here? No, they're over there in ego mind. Well, they aren't here a lot, are they? No, they still haven't figured it out yet, but they're getting there. That's what it's basically like. So you go over and you knock on the ego mind door. There they are. Right there, front and center. And even if you say, you realize you're an ego mind? And they go, no, I'm not an ego mind. Even though they're standing there in ego mind. It's like a child that puts its hand in the cookie jar. You walk in, and their hand is in the cookie jar. And you're looking at them, and you say, what are you doing? Oh, I'm not doing anything. Were you getting a cookie before dinner? No, I was just checking out to see what the cookies look like. I wasn't going to eat one. Oh, okay. All right. So take your hand out and put the cover back on the cookie container. So, or crumbs on the, around the lips, mouth. Kind of a nervous smile. Did you eat a cookie? No. Why? Well, how come you got crumbs on your mouth? I was smelling them, and maybe some of the crumbs got on my face. It's a typical child reaction. So, this is what we do. It's like a bouncing ball. Ego mind, heart mind, ego mind, heart mind, heart mind, ego mind, heart mind, ego mind, ego mind, heart mind, ego mind, heart mind, heart mind, ego mind. See what I mean? Back and forth, confusing after a while. So we then say to ourselves, I am committing to focus and my attention is going to go to things that I desire or want. I don't care to focus my attention on things that I don't care to have in my life. See? Now, you're clear on this, and you've made that commitment. So whenever the ego mind tugs at you to focus your energy, right, your attention on something that you don't really care to have in your life, you stop it. You immediately stop it, and you shift gears, and you go right into heart-mindedness, and you're focusing your energies, your attention goes to things that you are, that you want, that you're excited about, that you would enjoy in your life, things that you want, the things that you enjoy in your life, that you would like to have in your life. You're the power. You're the energy. You're an omnipotently powerful, supreme, manifesting, abundant being that never dies is in that body. How in the heck can any of us not have what we desire? Really? Doesn't it seem strange? Well, because we have all these things that come in that stop us. We have all these things that come in. What are those things? Well, maybe this. Oh, wow, this is going to happen. Oh, boy, what are they doing? How come this and how come that? And it's negative. See, it's negative. Where energy, see, where attention goes, energy flows. And so it negates it. Every time we negate our own abundance, we negate it. Do we do that on purpose? No, we don't do it on purpose. We don't knowingly do it. It is like a knee-jerk action. You know, when you go to the doctor and they tap you on the knee, and well, in a way, you're not controlling it, and the foot kicks up, right? Knee-jerk reaction. So our attention is put on the things that we want in our life. That's it. It isn't put, well, it is put ego mind, protecting the ego mind, because that's why we get upset, that's why we get stressful, that's why we get irritated. You know, that's why we start banging on something that could be really good, but we're so irritated that we're discrediting it. We're angry and we're questioning and we're doing all these things, which negates that energy from coming into fruition. It stops it. So we focus on the things that we want in our life. And once you begin to do that, and you've made that commitment, it isn't like you're going to do it lickety-split right on it, you know, and it's going to be a cinch. Because what will happen is that the ego mind will step in and pull us back in the ego mind. But we know that. So we go, not this time, ego mind. You're not in charge here. You don't do it angrily. You do it very lovingly. And then you step back into heart mind. You see, then it doesn't feel uncomfortable after a while. You step into heart mind because you're not used to doing that. It feels a little funny. And it feels a little uncomfortable because it is something that you are not used to doing. And anything that we are not used to doing, we feel funny and we feel uncomfortable with it. And a lot of the times, we allow ourselves to go back into ego mind because of that. Or our comfort zone. So, it sounds real easy, doesn't it? As I share it with you. That sounds really easy. It's real simple, but we complicate it because we have been so habitualized in focusing on things that we don't care to have in our lives. That's it. It sounds strange, it really does. It's like some of us would say, why would I do that? Why would I focus on things that I don't care to have in my life? So therefore, by focusing on them, I am literally lasering my energy towards it, and I'm manifesting it into my life. That's wild. But as we practice through our commitment to heart-mindedness, it becomes easier. You don't feel discomfort when you go to heart-mindedness. It feels good. The opposite happens. Going into ego mind doesn't feel good. It feels uneasy. Okay? So what's happened? The energy flow has switched. Before, it felt comfortable to be in ego mind. Right? And uncomfortable to be in ego and be in heart-mindedness. So by our commitment to being in heart-mindedness and knowing what the ego mind relentlessly will do to keep us in its fold, we then begin to master it. And we feel uncomfortable with being in ego mind. That's powerful. And we know it, see? We're aware of it. It's not like we're scratching our heads going, what is that feeling for? Why am I having that feeling? We aren't doing that. We're saying, okay, this means to me that I am more focused on heart-mindedness and not ego-mindedness. And this is why it feels uncomfortable now for me to be in ego-mindedness. And it feels comfortable to be in heart-mindedness. We shift, we switch. In other words, I talked about walking backwards in life. So wherever we go, we're going backwards, but you're going through doors like you normally would if you walked forward, but you're going backwards, and it's a whole different ball game. Well, this is what we've been doing in this life. We have been walking backwards, which means we have been mastered by the ego mind, and we don't know that we have been. And then some of us we discover that that's what's going on. And then we actually start walking forward. You imagine for years and years and years you've been walking backwards, and how phenomenal it would feel that all of a sudden you're walking forward. That would be so powerful. As you say to yourself, I'm not walking backwards anymore. This feels really good, walking forward. It feels like a natural state, which it is. And then it feels really good to be in heart-mindedness. Doesn't feel that good to be in ego-mindedness. Doesn't feel good at all. You see where we started? We started where it felt good to be in ego-mindedness. Worry, stress, fear, anxiety. That's where it felt good. And now, as we've committed to heart-mindedness, and as we practice this, we leave the ego mind. It doesn't feel good anymore when it tries to pull us in. So our motivation is just to stay embraced with the heart mind. And you're not an irritable, angry, you're not angry at ego mind at all. It's just that you have discovered self-awareness that this isn't the way to go. It feels so much open and freer in heart-mindedness than it does ego-mindedness. Heart-mindedness, I'm not protecting anything. I'm not protecting my shadow. And that's what it's like protecting your ego. I'm not protecting anything. I don't have any fear. I don't have any stress or anxiety. It's all gone. I don't have 60,000 thoughts that keep playing themselves over and over again every day. I don't have those. No. I'm in bliss and joy and happiness. I decide when I'm going to be happy. You decide. See? It isn't decided for you. You go, today I'm going to be happy. And you're not going to say, well, then today I'm going to be sad. Why? You wouldn't do that. It doesn't serve you the greater good. See, we've learned all that. Okay? Are you going to, okay, let's just say that you're in grade school, right? And you're in third grade. Now, are you going to stay in third grade for the next 1,000 years? Doing the same thing every day? Never moving forward? Getting more and more comfortable in third grade? You see what I mean? No, Well, what we do is we move on. We'll go to 4th grade, 5th grade, 6th grade, 7th grade, 8th grade, so on and so forth. But we sure as heck are not going to stay in 3rd grade for years and years and years and years and years. And this is where the civilization has been caught in doing. We stay in 3rd grade. We don't, you know, we become incompatible with our lives. Isn't that strange? You become incompatible with your life. You begin to basically throw negatives into it, create negative situations into it. And I've seen it happen, and it's not a pretty sight. So you decide you're going, and you've committed heart-mindedness. You know about ego-mindedness, my goodness sakes, because it's been your master for so long. But it's no longer going to be your master. And your life changes. It shifts. You want a good life, right? You want a good life. You want to enjoy your life. Then do it. Don't try and do it. Do it. It's just second nature for us. It is our natural state of being to enjoy our lives. Believe it or not, it is our natural state of being to enjoy our lives. I'll join you in the meditation. I'll return to close us out. Take an easy and slow breath in through the nose. And an easy and slow breath out from the mouth. Remain still, relaxed into your body. Focus on your breath rising and falling. Take a deep breath right now. The breath is your pathway to peace. Each time you breathe deeply, you reconnect with the eternal stillness at the core of your being. So if you're stressed, simply stop and breathe slowly, deeply, for 3 minutes. Your breath will always guide you back to the natural state of divinity that is the essential truth of who you really are. Take this with you for the rest of the day, into the evening and night, and the following morning. We will return here tonight for 9:15 p.m. to continue our reverse aging health call and all the rest. And Saturday, April 12, 2025, after 3:15 p.m. Eastern, to continue our global guided meditation call. Be gentle, kind, generous, and humble with yourself at all times. Be in the highest of the highest high, deepest of the deepest deepest, purest of the purest purest, eternal gratitude at all times, no matter what's going on within you or outside of you. Open your heart, allow the magic to flow in.